Welcome to the Art of Hitting channel. Today we got a nice little piece on your hips, and actually going to give you a couple of exercises to help improve your hips, because your hips are vital in the rotation of your swing, and the stronger your hips are and your muscles around your hips, it supports the whole body and the core, and it's essential that you have some exercise. We're going to do that, but before we do that, let's just review how important your hips are with my buddy Wally. Let Wally explain it to you.
Important to a fast swing. If you ever look at somebody that's got a great swing, he's got fast, good hip rotation. So as you're striding, you point your toe, your back foot is going to pivot, which will open your hips. And then as your hips rotate open, you lock your front leg, which pushes the front part of your hip back for even greater hip rotation. So as you're striding, you come down, hip rotation. Now the hips will go first. So your hips will start your swing. The hips will lead before the hands. It's real fast, but your hips go first. So in other words, you stride, you drive with that hip. You want to drive with that hip. Hip rotation. That's where the rotation comes, from your hips. You keep your hands back, ready to extend later and get the arm extension. As you start your hip rotation, your back foot pivots to make your hips rotate. Notice how the hands are back, and now you just start to rotate your hips as fast as possible and as much as possible, so that when you're done swinging, your hips will be pointed towards the pitcher, open wide. As much hip rotation as you can generate. So remember, the faster your hips are, the faster your hands are going to be, the faster your bat speed's going to be.
Three primary elements of that is load on the back leg, stride or step with your front foot, and then transfer the weight by rotating your back toe or rotating your hips in the hips. Let's look at the exercise now, a very simple one to help you.
Using them. Next, stabilizing your hip rotators, those little tiny muscles inside your hips that stabilize the rotation of your femur and protect your knee, and then also how we put it all together to create balance in the hips with one of my favorite exercises in the world for strengthening your hips. So, without further ado, let's get started and activate your glutes. Oh, before we go any further, I should just mention that I'm not your next movement. If you really want to activate all the muscles of your hips, your glute to extend your hips, and all the little rotators that stabilize your knee, then this is my favorite exercise. It's called the one-leg drinking bird. So I'm going to show you how to do it, and be really patient with yourself, because this requires a lot of balance, a lot of coordination, and a lot of control. So move slow and controlled, and like I said, it'll take a little time to get to the place where you feel really confident in this movement. So to start out with, I'm going to bring my feet right underneath my hips with my toes facing straight forward like that. I'm going to place my hands on my hips, and I'm going to work on just finding balance with one leg up like this. If I can't find balance with one leg up like this, then this is what you need to work on. It's just literally being able to balance on one foot. Now from there, I'm going to drive this foot back, and the first step I want you to do is just try to think about tapping your toe about 2 feet behind you, slight bend on the knee that's working right here. And when you hold this position, you'll feel the muscles all through the glutes and on the outside of the hip working very, very hard. Now from there, try to return to that start position. So real slow, drive into that heel, lift the knees, stand tall, and right there, finish the hips. Really squeeze the glute of the planted leg. Really finish the hips strong, like you're trying to almost jump forward, okay? So slow and controlled, I'll show you one more time. You're gonna bring the toes back like this, tap them, hold that position for a second, come to the top position, and hold that position for a second. Now once this begins to feel comfortable for you, you can do the same movement, but instead of putting your toe on the ground, just let it hover above the ground. So it's gonna look like this. Knee's gonna go up, you're gonna come down like this, slow and controlled. Woo. See, it's hard to, you can always do that for balance right there. And then hover, and then come back up to the start position. Okay? Some things to be mindful of right here as you start to lift your toe off the ground is, when you come back, don't let your hips open up like this. Keep them straight forward like that. And also, don't let your upper back round like this. Make sure to keep your elbows pulled back as you do this and tall through the top of your head the entire time. Now, how you make this more difficult from there is you just go a little bit deeper and a little bit more controlled. So you're going to start with that top position again. You're gonna come down as deep as you can into a nice bottom position. And again, as far as you can based on your flexibility. Again, if you start to lose balance, use your toe for support, and then back up. Slow and controlled as you go back and forth between those positions right there. Now, like I said, if you practice this exercise, you can practice it as practicing a movement every single day. And then during your workouts, you can do things like 3 sets of 10 slow and controlled reps on the left side and then on the right side. And when you do, you're not only gonna strengthen the muscles that hinge your hips and extend your hips, but you're also gonna make them way more active and way smarter when it comes to stabilizing the rotation of your knee. So it should manifest as not just stronger body, but a much more stable, more injury-free, less prone to injury body. So again, move slow and controlled while you do the one-legged drinking bird, but practice it as often as possible, because when you do, you're gonna activate all the muscles of your hips and they are gonna feel strong and amazing. Okay, once you've been able to practice activating your glutes and you really feel that glute muscle working, now it's time to stabilize and activate the hip rotators, which are muscles that most people don't feel being worked very often. So I'm gonna show you another movement you can try to get those muscles burning and really activate them. So you're gonna start by standing nice and close to a wall. You're gonna bring your feet nice and close together like this and come down into just like a little baby squat, okay? So from a side angle, the knees are bent a little bit, the butt's pushed back a little bit, and the chest is still upright like this. From there, put your hand on the wall, lift this leg like this, and then what you're gonna try to do is try to drive this hand into the wall by pushing outward with the foot that's on the ground. So what I'm trying to do is this, I'm trying to drive this leg out like this to push my body into the wall this way. So again, baby squat, hand on the wall, slight bend of the knee. Now push into the wall and then just hold this position. Now, at first, you'll probably feel your thigh working a little bit, maybe your foot will be working a little bit, but after about 10 seconds, what you'll notice is a lot of weird muscles on the outside of the hip and even inside that glute right there are gonna start to burn. Those are your hip rotators, your hip stabilizers. And what they do is they stabilize the rotation of your femur, your thigh bone, from side to side, which is important because that's what protects your knee and your ankle and your hip and your lower back as you do anything, from standing up from a chair to walking, all right? So in this position, hold it until those muscles start to burn, and then rest and relax. And just like everything I like to teach, feel the difference. What you'll feel is, holy cow, there's a lot of muscles in this hip that I didn't even know existed, and I don't feel them in this hip over here. So then switch sides, go on the other side until you feel that burn as much as possible in those muscles as well, and then go about your daily life. You can practice this, 3 days a week. You can practice it before you go for a walk, before you do a workout, and all you're trying to do is wake up those muscles so that they're available to you when you start moving around in your daily life. And what's really fun is when you start to go do things in your daily life and you start to go bend over to pick something up, and as you do it, instead of feeling your lower back hurt, you start feeling your hip rotators working. Then you know you're making progress on activating the right muscles in your hips that are gonna help you move your body through your daily life and feel significantly better.
Exercise you need to try. Shaolin monks train this movement to build a bulletproof body and mental toughness. Discover why horse stance is the best kept secret in modern day fitness. Exercise you need to try. Shaolin monks train this movement to build a bulletproof body and mental toughness. Discover why horse stance is the best kept secret in modern day fitness. But first, how long can you hold the horse stance for? Share your personal best in the comments and see how you compare with everyone. Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Vadnal, an Australian physiotherapist teaching calisthenics for Fitness FAQs. The horse stance, aka Ma Bu, in Chinese martial arts is a posture which develops strength, endurance, flexibility, and much more. Squat down in a wide stance with the thighs parallel to the ground. Isometric exercises go beyond.
I wanted to throw
conditioning
in the
body.
horse stance. I do have a video out there, and I put it out a year ago. The horse stance is also very effective for your hip rotation. And I hope these exercises help you, but the biggest thing is to improve your hip rotation, make your body strong. It also helps the defensive guy that's bending over, making your body as flexible as it can be, and your hips as strong as they can be. And remember, it's all about loading that back leg, stepping with that front foot, and then rotate on them toes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe.